Hello and welcome to today's webinar, HILTI Button for Firestop, BIM and Firestop Easier Than Ever. This webinar is brought to you by Applied Software, the premier software solutions systems integrator in North America. My name's Amy Worthy and I'm delighted to be your moderator today. Throughout our presentation, we encourage you to interact with us by typing in questions and comments using the questions pane. We will be answering questions at the end of the presentation. Please take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat pane. We want to know who you are, where you're located, and anything interesting you would like to share with us. This webinar is being recorded and will be available to you online on our YouTube channel. We will also send you an email following the webinar with a link to the recording. If you haven't already, search Applied Software on Facebook and like our page to receive the latest information and special offers. When you visit our website, asti.com, there's a complete schedule of upcoming events, webinars, trainings, and more. Please take note of our upcoming webinars. The November BIM Hangout will be Thursday, November 3rd, and we will be doing a webinar on Wednesday, November 9th on BIM Cars, a revolution for the electrical industry and commercial contractor focus. Please also take note of our upcoming events. We will be hosting BIM and Beer in Charlotte at Sugar Creek Brewing Company on Wednesday, November 9th. At the conclusion of this webinar, a survey will pop up. Complete the survey to be entered into a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You must complete the survey to be entered into the drawing. Today's speaker will be Robbie Sadawi. Robbie is a senior AEC solutions consultant with over 25 years of AEC experience. He's a repeat speaker at AU, RTC, and AIA events. He's also certified in Revit implementation as well as consultative methodology. Please join me in welcoming Robbie Sadawi.
Thank you, Amy. So welcome to this webinar about HILTI Button for Firestop. With the HILTI Button for Firestop, AEC professionals can populate building information models and appropriate Firestop components easier than ever through an automated clash detection and product selection. The HILTI Button for Firestop is an add-in for several Autodesk applications such as Revit, AutoCAD MEP, Fabrication CADmep, and Navisworks Manage. The HILTI Button for Firestop automates the entire Firestop BIM process by identifying and qualifying penetrations, as well as recommending UL-listed Firestop systems, saving you time and giving you the documentation required by fire safety building officials. So let's take a look at HILTI as a corporation. So HILTI has been around for a long time, since World War II, and as you probably know, HILTI as a company that makes hardware solutions, drills, and what have you. But you probably didn't know that HILTI made Firestop products and also Firestop software for these products. So some of the products you see on the bottom right are the cast-in devices, the collars, the Firestop block, and other components as well. So these are actually BIM components that you will find in the BIM authoring applications you can populate your BIM models with. So just keep that in mind. Before we actually talk about the software applications and how it works, let's just make sure we understand the three strategies for fire protection in buildings. So there are three primary strategies used to save lives and mitigate damages when a fire occurs: containment, suppression, and detection. With containment, we restrict the movement of smoke and toxic gases and help contain the smoke in the room of origin. With suppression, such as sprinkles, we help extinguish fires until the first responders arrive. With detection, smoke detection devices such as fire alarms emitting an audible or visual signal to alert the occupants that there is a fire hazard. So we can't rely on a single action or safeguard to keep people safe. So obviously, containment, which is the first strategy, is better than all the others. Why? Well, Firestop is required by building fire codes and must be included in the design documents and spaces. It's kind of a preemptive way, by the way, to solve the problem. Firestop is enforced by authorities having jurisdiction, and most field problems can be avoided by proactively including Firestop systems in the design process. So we want to use this as a preemptive way to save lives, assets, time, and money. So since Firestop saves lives and assets, it's a key component in the building value chain. On the right side, you see here a simulation using Autodesk software propagating the smoke into a closed parking garage. Down here you see casting devices being placed by the contractors in the field before they pour the concrete. So the typical Firestop activities in the field are improvised field discussions. Casting devices are used at best, inaccurate estimation process, and requires a manufacturer representative for product selection. So people simply call HILTI representative or someone else to help them with the process. It's an afterthought, it's not organized, and I think we can do better than that. So the implications of these activities is that you're spending too much money on details, modeling, or selecting product approvals. Of course, that means that you're wasting time, which is very valuable. And decision making in the field is a time-consuming process. Inaccurate bids are the result of the change orders, inaccurate purchase orders, and there's a high possibility of rework required by the fire marshal. So the HILTI Button for Firestop can help. First, by getting accurate BIM model takeoffs, automated product selection and approval, accurate bids and purchase orders with bill of materials, automatic submittals, and start early to avoid errors and omissions. So by starting early in the design phase, Firestop choices are made in advance, thus saving time and money. Alright, so now we get to the actual application, which is the HILTI Button for Firestop. There are it's a five-step process. First, identifying and qualifying penetrations in the BIM authoring tool. Step 2, exporting to Navisworks Manage. Step 3, running the clash detection. Step 4, defining the UL systems and products. Step 5 is populating the 3D model with the Firestop BIM components. At the end of the presentation, we'll take your questions. If you have any questions at the moment, please go ahead and send them to Amy in the chat box, and I'll try to answer them at the end of the presentation. At a glance, the HILTI Button for Firestop is involved with 4 software applications, namely Revit, Navisworks Manage, Autodesk Fab MEP, and AutoCAD MEP. So in the application itself, this is in Revit. What the add-in looks like is basically it's in the add-in menu of Revit. It has 5 components in it: qualify slab, qualify walls, MEP elements, start the Firestop Manager, and insert the Firestop. So you're going to see something very similar to that in the AutoCAD platform of products. Same thing, you're going to qualify the Fab MEP, the MEP, and then the rest of the products as well. So after we qualify, then we move on to make sure that specific components such as walls, slabs, or MEP components have the proper fire rating, the barrier type, penetrating material, and they actually have a material assigned with the installation, if any. Of course, the fire rating can be 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, and 4 hour, depending on the building itself. In Navisworks, we basically find the Firestop clashes, start the Firestop manager, and toggle the Firestop status on or off. What you are used to in Navisworks in terms of running clash detection, this happens automatically using the Firestop manager. You're not actually going to be creating selection sets or search sets in Navisworks. This is automated process, so it's completely free of manual intervention. Once you have qualified the elements in the BIM authoring tool, you take it into Navisworks, you run the clashes, and you get your clash results in Navisworks. The status of the Firestop clashes initially is red, and that can be, which means it's under clarification. When it's solved, it becomes green, which means a UL system has been assigned to that penetration. If there is a question and you needed some professional help with that, then a yellow color is assigned to that penetration. So the next step would be to transfer the clashes to the Firestop manager. The Firestop manager opens up for HILTI and lists all the clashes alphabetically, and then you can simply assign those clashes, and you can see the preview of what the product looks like on the bottom right. Here, this slide shows the different functionalities of the Firestop manager. So at the bottom of the Firestop manager, you have 5 buttons. These are the assign, unassign, match, bill of materials, and submittal. The first button, you're assigning UL systems and Firestop products to all the penetrations. The second button, you can unassign what you just assigned in case you need to make some changes. Number 3 is to change the one penetration or match similar penetrations to that specific penetration. Number 4 is you can generate a bill of materials, and then you can export that to Microsoft Excel. The most important part of this, of course, is to get to the submittal document, and this is generated as a PDF automatically using the Firestop button. So we want to, in order for this to work in the best way possible, we want this to be a complete circle. We want to go back to the BIM authoring tool and populate the Firestop components in the BIM authoring tool, which is in this case Revit. These are actual Revit families and can be listed in your Revit schedule. So let's move on now to a live demonstration. I'm going to switch to Autodesk Revit. I have here a model for a hospital that I prepared in advance for you. The hospital is, this hospital model shows the structural, framing, slabs, and also the linked MEP model showing the plumbing, piping, pipe fittings, and pipe accessories, as well as the plumbing fixtures. It is best practice to isolate the structural model from the rest of the components, because you don't want, the more components you have on the screen, the more the more time it will take. So we're going to select all the structural components, and we're going to use the HILTI button for Firestop menu to qualify the slabs. Okay, so this is going to, the HILTI button is going to find all these slabs for us, all the 6-inch slabs, 3-inch slabs, and other ones as well. And then it will give us the opportunity to come over here, and right now, then check, make sure that we have the proper fire rating for this slab. And then, as I said, we have, you can do this as none, or 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. And you can come over here also on the barrier type, and then change the barrier type to be either concrete floor, ceiling assembly, hollow core floor, and wood floor with ceiling assembly. Once this is done, then we can simply click OK to save the changes. All right, next we would export this into Navisworks, and I'm going to simply pretend that I'm doing that right now because I've already done that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the file name that I want to go to Navisworks settings and check the Navisworks settings before I export to Navisworks NWC file. First, we want to convert element IDs. We want to convert element parameters, element properties, use the project internal coordinates, and export current view. So this current view right now is a structural file. This is an appropriate file to send out to Navisworks. Please disable anything else that's not relevant to this process. All we care about right now are the IDs, the parameters, the properties, and the coordinates and the current view. All right, so we'll go ahead and save that as NWC file, and then move on to another model. So you kind of have to do each model separately. Typically, you would have a model for plumbing, one for HVAC, one for architectural, partitions, and structural. So this is where we're going to isolate. Let me kind of zoom in to show you what's going on. We're going to isolate these plumbing fixtures and pipes and fittings from the rest of the model, and we can probably turn off the fixtures as well. The entire model, and then proceed to qualify MEP elements as well. Since I've done that already, I'm not going to repeat that process. So it is very similar. It is you go through the process of selecting the. Actually, you know what? Let me actually do this, because with MEP is a little bit different. I want to show you the how the HILTI Button Firestop is able to detect the materials and the insulation around the pipes. This may take a couple minutes. So the process is fast, and this is a substantial size building. So if you have a bigger building, obviously it's going to take a little bit longer. So here we have some bare metallic pipes, conduits or tubing, and we can just come here and then we can assign whether for these pipes to be bare metallic, insulated metallic, non-metallic, and so on and so forth. You can also specify the insulation, whether it's a duct wrap, fiberglass, mineral fiber, or mineral wood batt. So you could look down this list. This is a very long list, obviously. You can just simply look down this list and select elements with the same type, and simply with using the Shift key, select Shift click, and then you can select all of them at the same time. So it's not a one-by-one kind of thing. There's 3,600 pipes right now, and we can assign the materials and insulation to that. So this process has already been done, so I'm going to skip that, and I'm going to also, don't forget to go to the add-ins for Revit and export this view to Navisworks. So the view name right now is going to be plumbing. Ends with the word plumbing. This one right here. Okay, so now we're going to switch to Navisworks. In Navisworks, I'll do this from scratch. I will simply load in the menu for this purpose. I've saved the menu earlier. The menu should contain your clash detective in Navisworks and maybe comments to see any comments that can come back from the UI listed assemblies. We'll start by appending the NWC file. So we're going to go over here and then select the NWC file, and we'll start with the structural model, append that into Navisworks. Here it is. And we will follow that with our MEP file, to be specific, the plumbing one. And here it is. Here are MEP components inside of Navisworks with the structural model. So obviously, to do this manually would be a very tedious process. You don't want to just go around and navigate the model one by one to find where the penetrations are. That's just too tedious. Next step is to go to the HILTI menu and calculate the Firestop clashes. And I'm going to receive an error message saying that please save the file before continuing. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And I'll simply overwrite the one I had before, which is this one right here, structural plumbing. And this will be saved as an NWF file. Next, we will calculate the Firestop clashes. So we're doing this live. This is not a recording or a pre-prepared file. It's the same file we were looking at earlier, appended into Navisworks. So again, as I said, we don't need to do the search sets or selection sets. As long as you're using the same coordinates as Revit, then your model should align in Navisworks the same way they would align inside of Revit. So there's 416 clashes that were identified, and Navisworks now is trying to pull those together. And it will display in the result within the next few seconds. It's pretty impressive if you think about how much work is that. The application is crunching numbers. I don't recommend that you do the Firestops for all of the disciplines at the same time. I think it will be too much work for the application, and you may get a lot of delays. So just try to break it down by discipline. Okay, here we go. So that wasn't too bad. We have 416 clashes for Firestop. Now we can move on to the results tab. And clash number 1 is on this left wing of the building. Here it is. I can just zoom in to see what the thing looks like. Notice that HILTI will put a red circle around the penetration, indicating that this is something that needs to be resolved. Let's go to clash number 2. Clash number 2 is here with the green pipe on the floor. Clash number 3, the one next to it, and so on and so forth. Clash number 4. I'm making a point of showing you clashes 1 through 4 because we will be dealing with those in different ways when we go to the HILTI Firestop Manager. Note that there are no comments at the moment, but we will go ahead and save the file and start the Firestop Manager. By starting the Firestop Manager, we will Navisworks is going to communicate with the HILTI application, and it's actually going to communicate with the HILTI website and server in Europe. The HILTI is based in Liechtenstein. It's a tiny little country just south of Germany and north of Switzerland. And that's what the server is, and it's going to basically compare these penetrations to all the HILTI products with the appropriate UL listed solutions. Okay, so crunching numbers here. As soon as this is done, it's going to show the penetrations with these red markers, and it's going to launch the Firestop Manager. Here it comes. Just like what we showed earlier. So this is a very predictable process. It's also a very robust application. I'm pretty impressed with how robust it is. It always works. So right now it's listed at class number 300. I'm going to switch that by name, so sort that by name. So now we start with class number 1. If we select class number 1, no solution is found at the moment until you assign the solution. So we're going to go ahead and assign the solutions. And okay, so now all the penetrations have been assigned the solution. Class number 1 is a cast-in device, this model 680p, and it looks something like this. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do, I'm just pretend that I don't like the solution. I'm going to come here, select the pull-down menu, and then I can pick a different type of solution from here. For example, I can pick the this device right here, which is the FA2025. Now this happens to be a color Firestop solution. Okay, but what's cool about it is that it is acceptable solution for this penetration. So again, I will do that for class number 1, class number 2. I'll pick the exact same solution. We end up with a Firestop color. We go to the class number 3, and in this case, I may, for example, say, you know what? I need someone to give me professional judgment, so I'm going to select EJ for that. I'll go class number 4, and I'll do the exact same thing. So clashes 1 and 2 have been replaced with different solution, and class number 3 and 4 have been selected to be engineering judgment. We will go to quantities, and then you can see here in the quantities that all the products have been listed, product types have been listed, and how many of them you have here. We have 2 that we just created as EJ. We will save this as a today's date is October 26th, and I've done this before, so I'm simply going to move forward, and then I'm going to create a submittal. Okay, so the submittal is actually we'll create that live. Today again we'll pick this one and click save, and this will generate a live submittal based on all these different cut sheets, product specifications, and will generate that in a PDF format. So I can still edit the first page of the title of the PDF submittal. For example, I can say this is Autodesk Hospital. And give it a project name, etc. And then when I'm done, I can save this. So what does this thing look like? If you look at it page by page, It's got 41 pages, and it's got a lot of the good things. It has a table of contents that are broken down by UL listings, Firestop colors, casting devices, and sealants. So if you specified UL listed devices in the past, you've probably seen this before. So every Firestop solution that was identified is now listed here. We have the Firestop colors. We have a certificate of compliance signed by the Vice President. We have some safety data sheets. We have a letter from to whom it may concern, from the Safety Environmental Manager at HILTI, certifying that these products meet code requirements. We have the cast-in devices. So again, another certificate of compliance. So you can, this would be an easy document for you to fill out the missing information, and then for the project, and then simply give that to the Firestop Marshal. So I like it very much. I think this is very neat. All right, we are going to, we're done with all these buttons down here. We can also, this also allows you to look at the product on the HILTI website, and also the cut sheets as well. So if we were to close this Firestop Manager, HILTI is going to populate the Firestop penetrations with the appropriate solutions. So if you notice that the colors of these penetrations have changed from red to green, and for some reason I can't move any closer than that, but the one that was given an EJ is now yellow. This one right here. So under clash number 3 and clash number 4, we have a comment. It says EJ approved, but it needs more study. We're going to save this information and then switch into Revit. In Revit, we will go ahead and open the structural model and see how we can populate the structural model with the Firestop solutions from the Firestop Manager. So the process goes like this. Basically, you go to the HILTI menu, and then you insert the Firestops. This process, it takes some time, so I kind of prepared that for you, and in advance. And what you see here is basically I've isolated the floor slabs and the HILTI Firestop devices, and as you can see, if you were to select those, you will notice that these are Revit families, and they are of the type specialty equipment. So this one right here would be the sealant, and the others are the casting devices. Here we go. I was looking for that color that we selected. This is it. This is clash number 2, I believe. So this right here is the color, and you can see that it's a full-fledged, Revit family with all the different properties. So I have one more thing to show you before I turn it over to Amy. Hopefully, Amy is getting your questions right now as we speak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to schedules, and I'm looking here for a specialty equipment schedule. I can't find one, so I'll probably make one from scratch. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll go to the View menu, select the Schedule command in Revit, browse down to the specialty equipment category, and let's make sure we have the type. We have the I think that'll be enough for now. We could also actually put the family. Let's put the family in there. So family, and then type, and then copyright. So the copyright is a way for us to filter by specific value, because we don't want the specialty equipment of the project to get mixed up with the HILTI components. So we can go to the Filter tab and then filter by this particular value. You could also go to the Formatting tab and make this a hidden field also. As soon as we click OK, Revit is going to list all of the Firestop solutions over here, and there's about 400 of them or more. So we can obviously we can filter and sort the schedule a little bit better. So we can go back to the properties, sort by type, do the grand totals, itemize every instance, put a blank line or a footer in between, and simply we have now all these devices listed by their type. It just makes it easy for us to figure out the totals for subtotal for each type. And if you wanted to, you could come here and say, you know what, I want this to be duplicated, and I want to make this grouped or non-itemized. In the group schedule, we can simply go back to the properties and uncheck the box for itemize every instance. That's going to give us just high-level subtotals for each of those types. So hopefully this was pretty cool. I do want to also mention that if you go back to Navisworks, you could actually create a report in Navisworks. I recommend creating an HTML tabular report, and then this report would include your let's just go ahead and override this one. We'll give it a today's date, so you know it's it is today's date, 16/10/26. So what that's going to do is going to take create a thumbnail image of every clash and put that in HTML tabular report. That would be very effective for providing that to your team, so they know they have a document and it shows which solution is being provided. So I'm going to open that report. Should be this one right here, 10/26. And this is going to open the report in a browser and shows this beautiful report with 416 clashes, and each item is listed, each structural item is listed in go back to my PowerPoint and then turn it over to Amy for any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robbie. We have a couple of questions. What version of the software does HILTI work with?
It does work with 2017 and 16.
All right, and what is the cost of this program?
Wow. Well, I think the best way to handle this is, you can contact your applied software representative, account manager, and they'll provide you with the cost information. You can also visit the HILTI website to download the application. So basically, HILTI.com is where you go and search for the HILTI button for Firestop.
All right, and what do you do if you forget something? Can I go back and make changes?
Absolutely. Anytime in the process, you can just say, go back and make changes to the, for example, to the qualifying of your slabs or your walls or your MEP components, and then run the qualification again, and then but you have to create those Navisworks files again one more time.
All right, and what do you do if no solution was found?
Yeah, this is the process that I explained earlier regarding EJ. Basically, if the application cannot find a solution, it's maybe because the material is not defined or the penetration is kind of difficult at an angle. So basically, you can assign it an EJ, and then a representative from HILTI will contact you to resolve the situation and give you more info on that.
And what if someone does not like the assigned product solution? Could it be replaced by another UL-approved HILTI product?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that briefly before. This has to do with the fact that in Navisworks, UL-listed solutions are listed under a pull-down menu, so you're not obligated to go with the solution that was provided for you. You can just the pull-down menu provides you with multiple solutions, and they're all valid for that particular penetration.
All right, thank you, Robbie. I don't see any more questions, so we will go ahead and conclude this webinar. In a moment, a survey will pop up. Complete the survey to be entered into a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You must complete the survey to be entered into the drawing. It'll only take a couple of seconds to complete. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found this webinar informative and helpful for your business. We look forward to seeing you on future webinars. Thank you.